Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. Before I get started, I have a question. So, I've been thinking and just like not actually 100% showing it yet, but just thinking about as far as changing the format of the way I do my reviews. So, instead of me doing a daily review, I would just do a summary of the whole week. Just do one long video of the whole week and the events and stuff like that. And, this way it's a little more consistent because I generally like doing episodes daily because each episode, kind of brings out a different emotion in me. And, I kind of like talking about that when I'm doing my videos. Some episodes are good, some episodes are whatever. But I notice a lot of times when I'm doing my reviews, the times is usually inconsistent. So sometimes on Mondays is usually my late day. They come out around 10:30, maybe 11 o'clock. But then on a day where I have off, it may come out as early as 1:30. And I want to kind of make it easier for everyone to sit there and watch, or at least know when. Be more consistent as far as at least a day that I'm going to sit there and drop it, as opposed to Mondays like 11 o'clock, or it could be 9 o'clock, or it could be 1:30. So let me know which format, you think I should do moving forward. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure on changing it, but, I kind of want to make it a little more consistent and easier for everyone to sit there and watch my reviews. This episode wasn't really great. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't really great. I mean, you got Chloe, complaining to Nicole about Philip and his jealousy and stuff like that. Now, what I found really interesting was in the beginning of the conversation, Chloe was like, oh, he's being all jealous. Me and Brady got stranded at a hotel. And Nicole was like, wait, y'all were at a hotel together? And, Chloe was like, yeah, but, all the rooms was booked and stuff like that. And he came in like a jealous, crazed monster and stuff like that. I was like, no, Nicole, no, Chloe. Why don't you tell him the rest of the story? Why don't you tell her the rest of the story? Why don't you tell her that Philip caught you and Brady in bed together? And yeah, granted, nothing happened. But why don't you sit there and tell her that story? Why don't you sit there and tell her that part? And this is when Nicole's like, should he be worried? Like you had feelings for him a long time ago. Like, you had feelings for him before. And the way that Chloe tries to explain it, it really just comes across as Philip was a consolation prize. Brady didn't want to go out with her, and so she chose Philip. And now she's all like, oh, well, I was happy about my decision, but now I'm not too sure. I'm like, you mean your decision of what? Using Philip as a consolation prize? Like, I'm not gonna lie, she just really irked me with that. Like, I get that Philip is over the top with his jealousy, and that's just, yeah. Even when he wound up calling Chloe, she took it as, because, he invited her to lunch, and she was like, no, I'm really busy and stuff like that. And then when she was talking to Cole, she was like, oh, I have a feeling that, he's checking up on me, like, I can't be trusted. I'm like, well, if you feel that way, then leave him. But don't sit there and have all those feelings and everything like that simmering, like... I mean, like I said, Philip is acting like a jackass, but I feel like Chloe is just dismissing his feelings like they're not valid. And the situations, especially that whole trip, and how y'all two wound up in bed, like that doesn't look bad. So you talk about that for a little bit, and then Nicole pretty much talks to Chloe about, her taking a step back from Rafe because, she wants to give Ava and Rafe a chance and stuff like that. And Chloe is like, I don't know, the way, like, her response was, it's like, she was like, oh, well, you shouldn't be sitting there backing away from Ava because of how she feels. I was like, no, what you're doing is you're respecting Ava's feelings. I get that you have this attitude where it's like, Philip may be acting a little bit jealous or whatever, so it's like, oh, well, you don't give a damn if you're in the bed with him or not. You don't give a damn if you're in the bed with Brady and that just looks bad because whatever. But Nicole actually has a sense of decency and understands that, regardless if you and Rafe are just friends, it doesn't look good. So it's called respecting someone else's feelings. I'm not gonna lie, that conversation kind of like irked me a little bit. You pretty much got Jake and Gabby pretty much acting like a pair of snakes. They pretty much manipulate Brady into trying to out Philip by talking to Victor. By saying he's a bad CEO and that their children's legacies is on the line. So trying to get Brady to sit there and talk to Philip to kick Philip out, out of the company. Yeah, that was pretty much about that. Had a little bit of a bonding experience between Philip and Ava as far as their, romantic problems and stuff like that. They both shared their stories as far as their jealousy. Philip with Brady, Ava with Nicole, But the one thing that Ava did sit there and say is like, I pretty much wouldn't want that, that uncertainty, that not having confirmation that this person is with you and is just going to be with you, because all those thoughts and everything like that, makes you a little crazy and do a bunch of crazy things, like, and the sad thing is, I would sit there and say, like, flying out, to confront, someone of cheating, but let's be honest. Yeah, they weren't cheating, but I don't know about anyone else, but I wouldn't be comfortable with my significant other being in bed with someone else just because there's only one bed, and, like, no. Somebody better be sleeping on the damn floor. Or better be sleeping horizontally, like, no. But yeah, they just pretty much kind of just talk about their romantic woes or whatever. Now, Rafe pretty much questions Bonnie. This is after Bonnie decided, oh, I don't need my public defender because, they can't, get me out of lockup or whatever. And, he's like, yo, listen, you have a right to talk to an attorney, but if you choose not to, you can sit there and talk to me, and I can sit there and help you out. And of course, Bonnie gives Rafe, like, the middle of what happened as far as, oh, she tried to come out with me with a gun. She tried to silence the gun, and then, my life was in danger, and it went off. And that's what happened. And you believe me, right? And I'm sitting there looking at this whole thing like, you only told him the middle part. You think he's stupid? So, of course, Rafe is like, oh, isn't that the same gun that you killed Callista's husband with? And of course she wrote a confession. Well, she pretty much kind of, Callista wrote a confession as far as, blaming Bonnie. Since saying, hey, Bonnie killed my husband, and, I was sitting there trying to get what was mine, as far as the money is concerned, and, she took care of me. So at this point, I'm like, Bonnie, you're screwed. Honestly, to tell you the truth, it would have been a lot better if you just would have been honest about the whole thing. Now, granted, I don't know what happened all those years ago as far as Bonnie shooting that guy. It could have been in self-defense. Like, we don't know. Or, I don't know. But I only started watching it, like, last year, I think. The hell? So, we don't know the whole story. But, at this point, Rafe knows that that gun that, killed Callista also killed her husband. Has the fingerprints of Bonnie on it. So at this point, she is dead to right. So he starts pushing like, yo, listen, you need to sit there and tell me the whole story. Like, tell me the whole damn story. Now, of course, Justin is upset. Pretty much kind of is just done with Bonnie at this point. And Steve is the one that actually defends her by saying that, yo, listen, you don't know the whole story. She was planning on spending the rest of her life with you. at the very least, you need to sit there and find out what's going on. It's not like you just sit there and just turn your back on someone. And so, with a little convincing, Justin at the last minute, because Bonnie is sitting there tearing up, and Rafe is really sitting there putting the pressure on her, and Justin walks right in like, "Yo, listen, this interview's over. I'm a lawyer, pretty much." So, honestly, tell you the truth, hopefully we get to the point where we find out what happened with Callista's husband. Because, yeah, that's the gun that did shoot her husband, and she didn't deny it once. But she also didn't sit there and say it was in self-defense. She didn't sit there and say anything like, "Oh, he tried to come at me, and I had no choice of sitting there killing." Like, there's no statute of limitation on murder. So, I'm really curious about what happened with that. Because she could sit there and try, she could sit there and maybe try to defend the whole, killing of Callista. The gun went off. It was in self-defense. No one was in the room. So, she could sit there and spin that. But the other murder, and the fact that she looked like she was not there trying to cover it up, well, the money and stuff like that, it's not good. It's not good. Not gonna lie, I think that's about it. I always have this nagging feeling like I'm forgetting something, but I think I got the general stuff that's been going on in this episode. So yes, yes, question of the night or the day, depending on when you're watching it. Moving forward, what way would you like to see the videos? Would you like to see once a week? And I just kind of recap all the different stuff that went on throughout the week, or the daily Monday through Friday synopsis of each episode as the week goes on. Let me know that in the comment section below. Also, let me know what your thoughts are about this episode. Thank you for watching. Be safe. I will see you in the next video.